Hi everyone, welcome to my presentation. My name is Alasia Hunter and I will be giving my introduction and also giving my thoughts on the discussion topic. In here I kind of just broke down what I'm going to talk about, starting with my introduction, which includes my teaching why, the last book I've read, and then we're going to get into discussion one and why I feel that teachers should definitely take diversity seriously, and then I'll have like a few concluding remarks. So first things first is, why did I choose teaching as my career choice? And here I have 4 bullet points. The first one is that I'm studying literature with to seek my English language arts teaching certification, grades 7 through 12. I'm passionate about literacy and education, and honestly, teaching is also part of my personal narrative and a vow that I've made to myself. And teaching is one of my many passions, but it's not the end goal for me. I do have other professional aspirations and passion projects that I'd like to pursue. And so that was a summary of why I chose to teach, but I also am getting ready to go a little bit deeper into why. So first things first is that I am a certified bookworm, and I just want to help raise the next generation of learners, writers, thinkers, problem solvers, and just critical thinkers. And the same love that I have for books, I want my students to also develop a love of learning, and especially in the literary arts. And I want my students to see literacy as more than just a basic skill, but as power, a way to always have a voice, and to enact change. And the second reason why I'm passionate about education is that currently in America we are facing a literacy crisis. And I did include a quote here published by Dr. Allison Rose Sokol. She is one of the leading research analysts in P through 12 policy, and she works for EdTrust. And honestly, EdTrust is just an organization that focuses on researching and fighting for educational rights for undeserved populations, primarily in the African American and Latino community. And so this is something that they published, where it says there is currently a literacy crisis happening in the U.S., one that disproportionately affects students of color, and that cannot be ignored. Literacy is one of the major civil rights issues of our time, and our children's future and our nation's democracy depends on us addressing it now. So the fact that they published this shows that we do have a serious problem, and this is just one research article of many that highlights that we are definitely in a major crisis in America, and it's not talked about, not nearly as often as it should, but this kind of streamlines into why I'm so passionate, and it affects me personally, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide. Working in education, specifically in the field of literature, is personal. Writing is my therapy, but it also stems from deep emotional pain and historical trauma. What started off as just me writing in journal entries and little short stories has become so much more, especially since I am a woman of color, and just a few generations ago, people with my skin would not have been able to read or write without the fear of getting a lash across the back. And so for me, literacy is personal. I see that it is a source of power, and it's also personal on 2 grounds. One, because I am a person of color, and 2, I'm a woman, and women also have had to suffer throughout history when it comes to literacy. So for me, I'm fighting two battles, both as a woman and a woman of color. And then lastly, I think the last part of the discussion was to talk about other career goals. And so I did mention earlier that teaching is one of my passions, but I do have many other passion projects, such as opening a bookstore and a coffee shop, getting into the publishing business, just really investing in myself and exploring, those interests. I want to get into a lot of volunteer work, maybe start my own nonprofit one day, just promoting literacy, not just in America, but around the world. I do want to start here in my hometown in H-Town in Houston, and then eventually branch out. And I also want to become a literacy specialist. So that concludes that part of the presentation, and now we're getting into the second half, which is the last book that I've read. Is called The Shield of Sparrows. It's a epic fantasy, romance, thriller, and a mystery all in one. And it's about, a world that's overrun with monsters. No one knows why. No one knows where the monsters came from, but they're just there. And many people are dying in this kingdom. And there are 5 kingdoms. And everyone is just trying to survive. And try to stop the brutal attacks. And one of the princesses is the heroine of the story, and she is kind of like forced into this arranged marriage in hopes of saving her people. But things get a lot more complicated than what she originally expected, as she learns to fight physically, and also fight love. And this slide is actually taken from the cover of the book. The design on the inside is very, fancy, the way that they, designed the book. So I read this book purely, as an escape, purely for my own entertainment and enjoyment. Just to see what the hype was about. I saw that this book came out like 3 months ago, and it was already like 5 stars, and now there's a movie that's about to be filmed because of it. And so since I am a writer, and that's kind of like my genre, the whole nonfiction sci-fi genre, I just wanted to learn from it, just to see how I can grow as a writer, and just see what is like interesting, to the current generation. And the next slide just kind of shows what the actual books look like. Of course, whoever took the picture kind of, added extra decorations and stuff, but this is actually also the copy that I have. I'm a sucker for limited edition books, and I have that copy. So if you're looking for a good book that's suspenseful, full of action and just like drama, I would definitely recommend. And that is that part of my presentation. And now we are getting into the actual discussion. And so to just answer the question for discussion 1, absolutely, yes. I definitely believe that diversity education is essential, especially for me as an educator, because I believe that it's important that I provide a safe space for my children to learn and to grow without having a fear inside the classroom. And then also, I just want to be knowledgeable. I just want to be socially aware of how I interact with others. But it's really more than that. I believe that this quality of social awareness and cultural awareness will transcend into my personal life, because I believe that, it's just we all have a duty to ourselves, and then also to just our neighbors, to the people that we have to share this world with, to be socially aware and to treat others with respect and dignity. Because America alone is just a hotspot of diversity, and living in Houston, we see so many different groups of people who call this place home. And also, diversity just goes beyond culture and race, and it's relative to each individual. It can extend to moral values, and we have to be willing to accept that there is going to be variety, even if we may not agree with certain things, or may not like certain aspects of another, group's culture. We do have to respect that, just as we would want our beliefs and, cultural norms to be respected. So just to summarize that again, I believe that we're all obligated to treat everyone like a human being. And as a Christian woman, one of my favorite scriptures is the golden rule that says, just treat others the way you want to be treated. And so I believe that diversity education streamlines into that, and to just being knowledgeable. And also that knowledge will help us to act in a certain way that's going to keep us moving forward as a nation and not backwards. So yes, that was my answer for discussion 1. Oh, I also forgot to mention that as an educator in the classroom, students will come from a variety of backgrounds. They're going to bring a lot of emotions emotions from home to the school, to inside, our classrooms. And we just have to be observative of every student that's in the classroom, just to look out for different, warning signs and different needs, and also different, learning disabilities, things like that. So there's a lot of different nuances when it comes to diversity. It can be anything. So now I'm just on my last slide of my presentation, the concluding remarks. Going back to what I said earlier about treating others with respect, I believe that is like the key factor or the key motive that we should have when it comes to diversity education. We should, have the right perspective and the right motive. The primary one should just be to get knowledge, and to make connections with people. And that circles back to my personal connection to education and why I chose this field. I believe that if everyone applied the golden rule of being socially aware, being kind, being respectful, it would have saved a lot of pain and suffering throughout human history. There would be no inequality. But sadly, that's not the world that we live in. We're far from a perfect world, but at least if I can strive to do my best as an educator and as a citizen, to strive to learn about other people different from me, with the hopes of just building relationships and getting to know them better, to obtain knowledge. I believe that that'll make us one step closer to having that ideal future. And as an educator, I want to teach my students to be culturally aware and curious. And so, yeah, I think that concludes my entire presentation. I tried to keep this under 5 minutes, so that's gonna be it. But I do thank you for watching, and I look forward to the semester with you guys.